Hey, it's Midnight Sun here. We're going to be doing the challenge rift today, and this is 429, and it's going to be a Necromancer this time. But before we start, and I cannot stress this enough, if you go over to your heroes, you see that I've lost the seasonal category for every single one of my classes over here, or my heroes. And that means that if I complete the challenge rift right now before the season starts, then I will not be able to claim the challenge rift cash in the season. So a lot of the guides that I've done so far have been utilizing the challenge rift cache. So I recommend that you guys do not complete the challenge rift right now. Now, the definition of completing the challenge rift is actually feeding the rift guardian in time. So you can practice it, but don't accidentally complete it. So make sure you got plenty of time to spare before you start that there. And when it gets into the actual season, as soon as it says over here, season ready or season 36 start or something like that, or you see a little leaf next to your character here, then that's a sign that you can go ahead and do the challenge rift. So I'm going to go down to my selection here, hit challenge rift, and open it up here and get started. And we're going to go ahead and go to the soul mirror and take a peek at what we got. This is the Rathma set, and we see that your permanent minions reduce the cooldown of your Army of the Dead by 0.5 seconds each time they deal damage. Your skeletal warriors spawn faster, and your revived minions no longer expire. So that's going to be this right here, the Army of the Dead, and it's going to be our main catalyst of damage. And then we've got on Dante's Binding, which is an additional 43% damage reduction when there is an enemy afflicted by any of your curses. And let's see if we have a curse here. I'm not seeing any curses, so that means that this isn't going to be very useful. We have your secondary skills, deal 397% additional damage while bone armor is active, but just remaining duration of bone armor. So we do have bone armor on our bars, so that's going to be boosted by that a little bit. Okay, we got some Grimscythe damage. We do have a Traveler's Pledge on, which means that while moving, damage taken is reduced, and while standing still, damage dealt is increased. We have increased the attack speed of our pets, which is great for our minions, and Army of the Dead deals 90% increased damage or double this bonus against an active target of command skeletons. So that means utilizing command skeletons on our bar over here is going to help us out a bit. For our passives over here, we have poison abilities, also slow enemies by 30% and reduce their attack speed. And if I'm not mistaken, dislocation is a poison ability. The rest of these are physical except for power shift. So if we're tapping power shift as moving along, then we'll benefit from the bonus right here, rigor mortis. We have increased the attack speed of Bone Spike, Siphon Blood, and Grimscythe by 15%. And you are healed for 10% of your life on hit when one of your enemies hits an enemy. One of your minions hits an enemy. And then lastly, after cumulatively losing 100% of your maximum life, all ability cooldowns are reduced by 20%. This effect cannot reduce an ability's cooldown more than once for each time the ability is used. So we're going to run through the kind of strategy here, and that's going to be, as we're walking through, tapping with Siphon Blood here. We're going to use our teleport to move around the map, and then we want to make sure bone armor is active. Try to use it around a big clump of enemies. The number of enemies around will give you the number of stacks of bone armor here. And then lastly, once you get some corpses on the ground, you're going to revive them. So there's the corpses. You're going to hit revive there, and you see you've got those guys there. So if you're up against a pair of elites, you can hit them with command skeleton to attack and move them into the direction you want to. And we can spam this, so we don't really got to worry about it too much. In order to get essence back, we're again going to be using Siphon Blood, and that comes back pretty fast. And then we're going to keep using that on cooldown. So let's go ahead and run through. Again, remember and do not complete this. So first, we're going to go ahead and use our command skeletons here, right off the bat. And then we're going to hit our revive to start reviving those enemies there. And I'm going to head and attack them, utilize our dislocation, and then we're ready to use it again. So right off the beginning there, that is a little sketchy. And it looks like probably a lot of you guys are going to die right off the bat here. But now we're ready to just go ahead and tap our command skeletons in the direction we want them to go to and move forward. And we're looking for elite packs in particular in this one. So we just want to move from one elite pack to the next. Because as you can see, we're not doing too much damage by ourselves. And I also don't want to complete this on accident. So there's the next one. And there's another. And I'm just hitting them with the Army of the Dead. And reviving, reactivating my dislocation for a bit. We've got a pylon here. We're going to go ahead and hit that. And now we just get to run around and get boosted by the damage. There's another one. Again, make sure to reset your Army of the Dead here. You utilize the command skeletons and revive function. And I'm just going to loop around here and move to the next area. Now, I typically don't like these areas because it's kind of hard to see where the elites are, especially blue elites. There's our next set of elites right here. There we go. And then we're just going to move up. You can see that we're already doing very, very good for time. All right. Take out that guy. Move down. And given that these two elites are really close to each other, it might make more sense to drag the two elites next to each other and hit them with one command skeleton because we were on cooldown for a second there. So that might be something that I would recommend doing. So far, we aren't worried about dying whatsoever. We're doing fairly great on time. We have about half the time left. Again, we can move these guys forward if we wanted to. Just hit them again. Now, this is the point where I would say we don't need to practice any further. I'll take out this next set of elites right here, I guess, but we're at 87%, so we have plenty of time to do this in, and I'll just take a peek in this next area here. So already there's another set of elites that would add us up to 90, probably like 92 or so, with the bonus of everything here. All of these other enemies, and right there, so right here is more than likely where we'll spawn in the Rift Guardian. And again, the Rift Guardian is going to be instant killed by the Army of the Dead here, so I don't got to worry about it. So I'm letting these guys just stand and attack me here. And you can see how tanky we are. We still have all of our guys up. We have the Templar healing us if he needs to, I'm pretty sure, with his abilities. So right there, I would restart the Challenge Rift and then run through and practice it again. So that's what we're going to do until the season starts. Again, you could just run in here. I would maybe even try doing this right off the bat to avoid getting attacked by everything, and then revive everybody here. So already right there, we saved a little bit more time. We got our speed pylon that we can hit, and then we're going to stay a little bit lower this time going through, dragging our enemies forward with us, and then making our way to the right. So I believe there's another set of elites right here. Go ahead and hit them right away. Grab the orbs, dip down, drag the elites with us. And as soon as that's off cooldown, hit him again. So already it looks like we're a little bit faster than we were before. There's our next pylon. Hit him again. Dip down. We're going to need to reactivate our bone armor here. And off cooldown. There we go. Got the next one. And then we're just going to go straight to the next area here. So now I know there's an elite pack up here. I'm just going to beeline straight towards it. There he is. Hit him with that. And then go through again. So this looks like a good strategy. Let's try dragging the elites this time. We're going to move them over here. Hit this power pylon. Again. Or just even let most of this lightning do half of the work here. Alright. So it looks like making them get dragged along here isn't going to be a viable option. Or I could try that out again and just have them run through it a little bit faster. So I'll play around with that and see if there's going to be a way to drag them over here. Or if there's a way to reset them exactly the way I want them to. But we've got that. We got one more final set of elites down here. And we're ready to activate those guys. And there we go. Again, we're about 80%. And we know we have a couple of elites right there. This would be 83%, give or take. And then the next one over here. We could probably get a good command skeleton going on in there to reset him. So there's another set of elites. Let's say you don't make it with that one. You're at like 95%. All of these enemies right here should be enough to get the rest of that here. Let's go ahead and take a peek. Yeah, there's 86% right there. So that was Challenge Rift 429. Again, this is the NA version. I cannot stress this enough. Do not complete this until your season is ready to go. Alternatively, if you don't want to use the Challenge Rift cache, then it doesn't matter if you are going to complete this or not, although it is needed for the altar. So even if you complete it and you just want to store it in your bag and use it for the altar over the weekend, you can do that too. And some of my testing that I've done over here, I found that if you don't use the Challenge Rift cache, it's going to take you, depending on the class, about an hour and a half if you're getting kind of lucky with some of the gear. And if you are using the Challenge Rift cache, then it could be as fast as 30 minutes. So you're saving about an hour or so. And again, that's how familiar you are with the class and how fast you're going, and if you're getting kind of lucky on items. The slowest I've seen without the Challenge Rift cache, depending on the class, is like 3 hours to get to like 70 and gets through some of the season journey mechanics there. So I hope this helped you guys out. I can't wait to play this on Season 36 release Friday. We're going to be doing a hardcore character. I do have some posts out actively right now, and I'll let you guys, the community, vote for what class we're going to be doing a hardcore character on. In my first round of testing, it looked like the Barbarian and Crusader were kind of tied and leading the pack, but I've also got more votes for another category, which was the Monk, Necromancer, Demon Hunter, or Wizard. So I'm going to do a round of testing with those, and out of the highest pick from those two options, I'll throw them in against the against the Barbarian and the Crusader. So we'll see what ends up being the overall pick. Thank you guys for watching. Bye. In Midnight Sun here, we're doing Challenge Rift 429. This is the EU version of the Challenge Rift. And I mentioned this in the NA version, do not complete this, and by complete, I mean defeating the Rift Guardian in here before the season starts, if you plan to utilize the Challenge Rift cache on the new season, Season 36, which begins here Friday in a couple days. I'm not sure what that would translate to over in the European server there, what day it is for you guys. But just make sure that when you go to your hero selection, you actually look at the thing and it says Season 36 active. Or if there's a leaf next to your character, or you can do a solo character, whatever the case may be. As long as you have a seasonal character created, you'll be fine. This is going to be using the Pestilence set. Each corpse you consume fires a corpse lance at a nearby enemy. Each enemy you hit with Bone Spear, Corpse Lance, and Corpse Explosion reduces your damage taken by 3%, up to 75%. And each corpse you consume grants you an empowered Bone Spear charge that increases the damage of your next Bone Spear by 6,000%. In addition, Corpse Lance and Corpse Explosion damage is increased by 6,000%. So we do have your Golem sheds a corpse every second, so we'll be casting a lot of corpses on the ground here. Prevent all fire damage taken, and then this is a lightning damage thing, which isn't too useful for us here. We do have Crumb's buff, so we're getting a little bit more vitality here. We're going to be utilizing Focus and Restraint, which is when you hit with a resource generating attack or primary skill, deal 50% increased damage, and when you hit with a resource spending attack, deal 50% increased damage. We have the Executioner here, which is attacks will slay enemies with less than 10% of your health. And then not too much else really working for us here. So this is a Bone Spear. We do have Corpse Explosion, and we can activate our Golem here to get some more corpses. We have Aura Frailty, so we're constantly dealing curse damage around us. And then there's Corpse Lance right here. Corpse Lance, which targets an enemy to summon a projectile from nearby corpses that causes 1,750% weapon damage as physical to the target and stuns the target. Our Bone Spear is going to have a chance to trap enemies in a bone prison. Poison abilities also slow the enemies. And let's just take a quick peek here. That would be our Siphon Blood. Increase the attack speed of Bone Spikes, Siphon Blood, and Grim Scythe. I'm losing my words here. And then Bone Spikes, Bone Spear, and Bone Spirit deal 1% increased damage for every 1.5 yards from you, up to a maximum of 20%. So that's going to be the gist of it there. So we can generate corpses by throwing down our Golem if we really needed to. We can gain our energy back right here. And then again, it's just going to be primarily utilizing our Corpse Explosion and our Bone Spear to do a lot of damage. So I anticipate that, again, Corpse Explosion is going to be kind of the way to go for most of this. So let's go ahead and check it out. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention here is Corpse Lance. So you can utilize Corpse Lance as well to deal some damage in big bursts. Alright, so this one's going to be a much harder version compared to the NA version. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Just run straight through these enemies, throw down your Golem right here, and then start holding down your command Corpse or Corpse Lance here. And then we're going to make our way up, and we're going to occasionally tap down some Bone Spears here, but it's not going to be our primary source of damage. Instead, Bone Spear is going to be to activate a corpse. When we get a lot of enemies around us, we're going to go ahead and hit down the Corpse Explosion. And then on elites, we're going to be using Corpse Lance. So here's some elites down that way. So we're just going to start throwing all these corpses towards them here. Dragging some of these enemies. And then again, if there's a lot of enemies nearby, then we're going to be blowing them up with Corpse Explosion. It just doesn't do a whole lot of damage on this that I would like, but this is going to be the way to do it. I've died a couple times running through here, so be a little cautious. Next, we're going to, again, tap some of those Corpse Explosions here. Just kind of trying to drag as many of these guys with me as I can by blowing up everything with Corpse Explosion. See a lot of enemies. I'm going to hit them again with the Bone Spear first, and then hit them all with Corpse Explosion when they're gathered up like this. So these regular enemies should die to the Corpse Explosions much easier than the Corpse Lance. So keep that in mind. We've got our first pylon up here, as well as some difficult enemies. So again, we're going to want to activate a couple Corpse Explosions when they're all nearby here. And then over here is where we're hitting everybody with Corpse Lances with the elites, so that takes them out. This took me a little bit to kind of get used to it here. So I wouldn't be surprised if this would take a little bit of practice. Just don't kill the Rift Guardian if you're practicing on EU. Again, I'm not going to be starting the season on EU, so I'm able to kind of complete this one for you guys here so you can see what it looks like. Watch out about getting trapped. This doesn't have a teleport or anything like that, and if you run into a spot where you don't have any corpses around you, you can always throw them down with the golem there. So we're gonna go ahead and do that this time, and try not to die from the explosions. So we're cutting it a little bit close on time, which is again not something I'm liking, especially for the start of what would be considered season here. So ideally I would like to be much further ahead, so I'm hoping that we can get a pylon up here soon that will help us out a little bit. I only ran through part of this rift here because I wanted to get... Oh wow, he died right there. That's not good. A little bit of some surprise left in this video, so we'll see how it's looking. I'm gonna take out that guy there. And this is typically where I would say the build is falling off a bit, is when we don't have a lot of enemies to maintain our Corpse Lances or Corpse Explosions. That's when it feels like you end up just dying right off the bat here. So throwing down a couple of Bone Spears against these enemies and then hitting them with Corpse Lances seems to be the best way for those elites, so we're going to try and stick with that method. And what I probably should have been doing back there was blowing up a few more corpses as I continued along in the next direction there. There's a shield, which I really want, so go ahead and give me that. Along with some elites, it looks like. We're going to hit him with Corpse Lances, pop that shield. Take him out the rest of the way there with some Corpse Lances. Now we don't care about those explosions. So with this shield, we should be able to gain back a little bit of time here that we otherwise would have wasted. We're going to try and carry along some explosions here. Again, anytime there's a big group of enemies, we're hitting them with Corpse Explosion instead of Corpse Lance. We're going to try and recoup some of our mana here, or essence, on the Necromancer, I think what it's called. Now we're dragging, again, the explosions, and onto the next floor, where we get our conduit. So here, most of these enemies should follow you, so just kind of let the conduit do most of the work here. And we're just looking for elite pack after elite pack. Remember, we got to activate the corpses on the ground to get that damage resistance, that damage boost. Not damage boost, damage reduction. Okay, next set here, I'm going to throw down the golem and then start activating my Corpse Lance. and aiming at the elites. And we got another set right here. So we might die here, but we're going to try our best. Just throwing down the corpse lances at the enemy, hitting them with a couple bone spikes, and then throwing again. 94%. Where's our exit over here? And then there's our final set here. Now save your golem here and try and save a little bit of the corpses on the ground here for the Rift Guardian. So as soon as we do that, then we're going to throw down our golem, and then we're just going to hit here and spam all of our corpse lances at the enemy here, and then hit him with our bone spear. Don't worry, your golem will shed more corpses, and then we're just going to hold down again and get him again. There we go, a little bit more. Throwing down some bone spear. As long as we don't die here, we should be fine to get him at the rest of this time. And there he goes. So that was the challenge rift completed. Again, in the season, don't defeat that Rift Guardian, and that took a little while to do there, so I anticipate that you could actually go and practice up to the Rift Guardian. So I would just immediately start the rift over again, run through the area, and see if we could try that again, but a little bit faster this time. So I'm going to throw down those guys and hit them again. This time we died right off the bat, so definitely not faster. I believe I stood a little too close this time. There we go. And then we would just run through. And if I ever have like a bad start, I'm just going to let these guys kill me and then restart the challenge rift again to practice. The goal is to do this about 2 or 3% faster than we would before, just to give us a little bit more comfortability in taking these guys out. So again, I'm trying out some different methods here, trying out different starts, and I recommend you guys do the same. Whatever you think is going to be the best way to get through this rift. I'm just showing you kind of how I at least did it the first time. If you follow through there and you don't die, then it'll be fine, but it's definitely going to require some practice here, it looks like, to actually get through this rift with some time to spare and to feel more comfortable. Sucks that EU's got such a hard start compared to the NA one. I wish that there was a little bit more balance in how you complete these things here. But there's not much we can really do about it, so. But I haven't gotten the chance to like really sit here and practice it. And what I think I'll try and do is update this video closer to when the season actually starts here, so you can see if the method would fully work here. Wow, those guys are tough, so watch out for those guys. But alright, hope you guys enjoyed the video so far, and I hope this helps you out with doing your challenge rift for the EU version. Again, sucks that you guys got a little bit tougher challenge rift compared to the NA version, so I wish you guys all the best. Have a good one. Bye.